Awesome. So again, welcome to the call, family. I hope everybody's weekend was blessed. Hope everybody's doing well. As you guys know, we get together as a family every Monday to talk the vision, new ideas, things that are happening. Shout out to family. And Mondays to me, man, are the second best day of the week after Sunday. I really believe that Mondays are great days for us to come together and just hear what's happening in everybody's lives. So I'm super grateful to have each and every one of you part of the organization. For those that have been putting the work in, putting the time in month after month, year after year, and you're still here, thank you. Just wanted to share my gratitude with everybody before we start the call. Now, really quickly, this is random, but is there anybody on the call that has recently lost their job and you have a baby? If that's you, drop me in the chat box. You recently lost your job and you have a baby. This could be very random. If that's you, drop a me in the chat box. Second, give it a second, give it a second. Perfect. Nathaniel, thank
Ah,
you so much for being open because today I was praying. I was praying today, and in the midst of my prayers, I was thinking about giving, and I saw that somebody quit their job, and I also heard a baby crying in my ear. So Nathaniel, I want you to send me a message. I'm gonna cover your rent or your mortgage or whatever you have, and your car note if you have a car note for the month of like December and January, because you literally showed up in my mind today, bro. So thank you so much for being honest and transparent and saying that is you, bro. So send me a message on Telegram. Make sure we get you squared away, bro. Love you so much, family. So again, let's get this show on the road. Matter of fact, do it immediately, bro, so I can make sure um, that I get you squared away. I want to make sure you're good, bro. You literally showed up in my prayer time today. Are you on the line, bro? Can you hear me? Can you talk?
Yeah, I'm here, bro.
How are you, bro?
I'm good, bro. I appreciate that, bro. Bro, you understand, bro. I got a 2 year old son.
You have a
Crazy, man.
two-year-old son.
Yeah, I appreciate that, bro.
Man, absolutely, bro. Just want to show my gratitude to you, family. So,
I
can you,
can't thank you enough, bro.
man, send me a message on Telegram, like right now, bro, so I can make sure that we get you squared away.
All right, for sure.
Love you, bro.
I love you back, bro.
All right, bro. All right, cool. So let's get the call started, family. It's about to be a great call. This is about to be an amazing call. This is about to be an amazing call. Somebody today, uh, make sure the lines are muted. Before we started the call, I asked the family. I said, "Yo, somebody give me a request for a song to play. Somebody give me a request for a song to play." And it was a lot of songs that came in, but God's Plan was one of them. And when I saw God's Plan, I said, man, this is perfect because kind of what I wanted to talk about tonight was money. But I didn't know the angle that I wanted to go with. I did have a set agenda, did have a set of notes or whatever the case may be. But when somebody said God's plan, it took me to somewhere in the Bible that a lot of people they probably never read before. They probably never read this part of the Bible, and it clearly says in the Bible what God's plan is. And I want to read it to you because it goes to what we're about, which is about obviously making money, multiplying money, managing money, and all of that. And I think it's so perfectly fitting for right now in this moment. So this is what it says. I can't make it up. I literally can't. It's right here. I can't make it up. And this is God's plans. Both Gentiles and Jews. Gentiles are people that weren't Jews. They're opposite of Jews, right? Both Gentiles and Jews who believe in the gospel, aka the good news, share equally in the riches inherited by God's children. And this is God's plan. Both Jews and Gentiles who believe in the gospel, the good news, share equally in the riches inherited by God's children. So that alone should make somebody say, okay, it is meant for me to be prosperous. It's meant for me to become wealthy. It is meant for me to not live like a second class citizen because that's not the plan. Because the plan clearly states that, and this is God's plan. Both Gentiles and Jews who believe in the gospel, the good news, share equally in the riches inherited by God's children. And that is, family, Ephesians 3 and 6. Now, if you felt that, drop some fire in the chat box. Maybe that hit you the same way it hit me when I read it a couple months ago. I just need to know, did somebody get that? Because that's what it said. Somebody said, play God's plan. And it took me back to the text. where it said what God's plan actually was. See, Drake didn't put that in his song, but it's in the word. And this is God's plan. Both Gentiles. Gentiles were people that were not Jews, right? There were people who weren't like a part of the Israelites. They weren't God's chosen people. But he said, listen, both Gentiles and Jews who believe in the gospel, the good news, share equally in the riches inherited. That means, yes, Ephesians 3:6. That means it's like you don't have to do any, it's your birthright, family, to become rich. It's your birthright to become prosperous. It's your birthright to actually live in abundance. It's not okay to live check to check. It's not okay to live in bondage, right? It's not okay, because the plan tells you opposite, right? The plan tells you opposite. And I believe that text alone will allow a shift in somebody's mind for them to actually say, you know what, it's not okay for me to live like this. Let me actually get my money right. Let me get my business in order. Let me get this trading stuff right, because we have been given a vehicle, we have been given a platform where we can allow this to come to pass. See, it's one thing to have a promise. It's one thing to have inspiration, but it's another thing to have strategy. And that's what this platform gives us, family. It gives us strategy. So we have the inspiration from the text. We have the promise from the text. This is what it says, and this is God's plan. We have it right there. But most people that probably have read that, maybe they didn't have a strategy. Maybe they didn't have a vehicle for that to be possible. So you just heard that maybe for the first time, most of you, right? And now you have been sitting in the vehicle this whole entire time. But my question for you is, what have you been doing with the vehicle? Have you been allowing the vehicle to just sit in neutral, or have you been actually becoming the driver of that vehicle? Have you actually been moving the vehicle? Have you actually been putting in the work so that this plan can come to pass for you? Because you got to understand that it's your birthright to inherit riches, because that's what it says. Like, I can't even make it up. It's literally right there, circle. You understand what I'm saying? It's right there, circled or boxed out. And this is God's plan. So when you understand that, that again should put something inside of you to make you want to move in a completely different way and say, you know what? I got to stop living like this. I gotta do something different to get this result of becoming financially successful. How can I move from where I'm at today with this vehicle to where it is that I want to be? That's where you got to get to. And again, this is not something that I'm like making up. This ain't something I just pulled out of my buttocks, if you will. This literally came straight out of the book. And when I read it a few months ago, it changed everything about what I was doing. So I hope that it can trigger and do something in you to make you say, man, listen, it's not okay for me to live check to check. It's not okay for me to be strapped for money. It's not okay for me to play around with this business when this business is allowing people to become financially successful, when this industry is allowing people to change everything about their life. As a couple of the people that gave shout outs were saying, we were at GoPro this weekend in Vegas, and we were literally hearing from people who have organizations of 100,000 people, 120,000 people. We met 24-year-old, literally kids with 60,000 people in their organization making over $150,000 per month in income. Like, that's what you're a part of right now. Not just in the company of I Am, but the whole entire industry of network marketing. This is your vehicle to become wealthy. Or if you're just a trader, guess what? I was with somebody this past weekend that withdrew 7 figures from the market. Withdrew at one time 7 figures from the market. He's also a chairman 100 inside of this company. So understand what you're a part of and understand that it's in your bloodline, right? It's a part of your inheritance for you to actually walk into abundance. Let me read it for you one more time so you can be clear. And Ephesians 3:6. And this is not Riyadh's plan, not Chris Terry's plan, not David M. Onitie's plan, not your upline's plan, not your downline's plan, not your sponsor's plan, not your coach's plan, not your mom's plan, not your dad's plan. He is your dad. You get what I'm saying? And this is God's plan. Both Gentiles and Jews who believe in the good news share equally in the riches inherited by God's children. I'm telling you. Everything about the way you move should begin to change in 2020. 2020 should be the launch pad for you changing everything about your financial future. Everything. And not just 2020, not starting in 2020, because here's the deal. 2020 has 5 phases. The first phase of 2020 is phase 1. And we're in phase 1 right now. The next 17 days before 2020 actually gets here. That's phase 1. And then it breaks down in quarters. When January 1st gets here, we're now in quarter 1. Then March 31st, we're moving over into quarter 2, and so on and so forth, right? But you got to start again the year with momentum from what you brought from the end of the year. Very important. So 2020 has already started, like Martez said, it's already here. You got to start putting in the work now and understand that 2020 is going to be your launch pad for you to go out there and create wealth for your family. Will everybody in this line become wealthy in 2020? Probably not. But why not that be the year where you start doing everything right with your money? Why not that be the year where you start really taking the business serious? Why not that be the year where you really start taking the trading seriously? Why not that be the year where you say, you know what? I'm tired of living check to check. I'm sick and tired of the way that I've been living. Why not get creative with ideas and begin to make things happen for yourself and stop relying on somebody else to do something for you? Why not that be the year? Why not moving into this new decade, you make the decision to say, you know what? Everything is changing. Not for me, but for everything, but for everybody around me. Because sometimes the reason why we haven't gotten blessed yet is because our motives have been wrong. My question for you, if you were to get blessed with everything that you pray for, how many people would you plan on helping with it? If you were to get blessed with everything that you pray for, that you've been praying for, how would you bless the people around you? Would you make somebody else's world better, or would you just make your world better? You have the rich person who wants to gain, and you have the rich person who wants to give. You have the regular person who wants to gain, and you have the regular person who wants to give. Which one are you? Your heart posture has to be in the right place for in order for money to really come to you and flow to you the way that you would want it to. And not only that, family, you have to become a good manager of the money, because when there's no management, God inhibits growth, or he slows down growth. He'll stop growth, or he won't even start growth if there's no manager. So, and whatever you mismanage, family, you always lose. That's from my mentor, Miles Monroe, who's no longer here. God rest his soul. Whatever you mismanage, you always lose. Whatever you don't recognize will exit your life. So if you're not recognizing the gifts, if you're not recognizing the opportunities, if you're not recognizing the people, they'll exit your life. So again, you got to understand that you have to become a good manager. And I'm going to even show it to you just because I'm in a good mood. I'm going to show it to you. So I really need this to make sense for you, but for me to like move into what I want to really move into. And when God made the earth and the heavens, nor wild plants nor grains were growing on the earth, for God had not yet sent rain to water the earth, because there were no people to cultivate the soil. So God had a whole earth, right? No plants or grains could grow there, even though he had an earth, because there was no people there to cultivate, to manage the land. So the resources that God wants to give us, if there is no manager there, he won't give it to us. My question for it is, how are you managing your money? How are you managing your finance? Because that could be one of the reasons why your income or your bank account has not been growing. You understand what I'm saying? So it's very important that you understand that. And also something my mentor taught me about money, right? Something my mentor taught me about money in terms of managing it. He said every 7-figure earner has a strong money blueprint. Every 7-figure earner has a strong money blueprint. So I began to ask David, before I even started making money, like, David, how do I go about managing money? How do I go about managing money? And the simple way that he put this, right? I'm gonna give it to you the actual broken down way, but the simple way that he put it was when you hit a new position, you save the last position. So when you go platinum 1000, you save platinum 600 money. You live like a platinum 600 and you save $400 a month. When you go platinum 2000, you save $1,000 a month and live like a platinum 1000. When you go platinum 5,000, you live like a platinum 2,000, and guess what? You got $3,000 to play with, where you're not strapped with because you're living like a platinum 2,000. I'm gonna get to that in a second. When you go chairman 10, you live like a platinum 5,000. So even if you're a trader, if I'm making $5,000 a month, I'm not living above my means. If I'm making $10,000 a month as a trader, I'm not living above my means. Why? Because when there's no management, God stops growth. When there's no management, God will inhibit growth. So you got to understand that point. And that changed everything about me because I know what it felt like last year. A lot of you guys heard my story of making chairman money, but not having anything to show for it. Why? Because I was living above my means. And then when the income went backwards, I couldn't recover. I was struggling because I overextended myself on my income. This call is so fitting moving into 2020 because I know a lot of you guys on the line, you're gonna set yourself up for financial freedom, and this 2020 is gonna be the launch pad for you financially. So we gotta have it before it gets. So you gotta dig the well before you're thirsty. You gotta start doing the work before you get tired, doing the work before you get thirsty. Dig the well before you're thirsty. Prepare before it actually gets here. All right. So when that happened to me, I said, dang, this can never happen to me again. I began to self-audit my financial situation and say, man, why in the world did I like de-rank, but I'm so messed up? And I realized, well, I wasn't following the financial blueprint. What does the financial blueprint say? Well, the financial blueprint says that 25 to 35% of your income, 25 to 35% of your income max goes to living expenses. 25 to 35% of your income goes to living expenses. Listen to me. If you haven't heard this stuff, you want to write it down because this is what can save you because it began to save me. All right. 25 to 35%, preferably 30. You want to be in that 30 ballpark. Living expenses, that means your rent, that means your car note, that means insurance, that means like everything, anything that phone bill, anything that goes to you living your day-to-day life. That should be 30% of your income. So what does that mean? If I'm a platinum 1000, right? Let's use that because I suck in math. Let's just say I'm a platinum 1000. That means $300 should be going to my living expense. If this is my only source of income, right? That means $300 should be going to my living. If I'm doing more than that, I'm overextended on my living, which could put me in a bind, which means I won't be able to save the money or invest the money or share the money. Because again, you have to become a good manager. Money's just sitting in a bank account does you nothing. Money is meant to be circulated, right? It's supposed to be spent, saved, and shared with other people. Spent, saved, and shared with other people. But if I'm overexerted on income, if I'm overexerted on my money, I don't have anything to save, and I definitely don't have anything to share. And because I don't have anything to share, I can't do what I'm supposed to be doing with my money. Worldly wealth is meant to create new friends, to make new friendships. That's what worldly wealth is supposed to do for you. Worldly wealth is designed for you to make new friends. I'm going to show you in a minute, right? So money is supposed to be spent, saved, and shared. So 25 to 35% of my income should go to living expenses, right? So if I'm a chairman 10, all right, a lot of you guys are gonna become chairman 10s. That means, right, your incomes, your living expenses should not exceed like $2,500, $3,000. Living, that means car, rent, phone, like everything that goes to you living. Why? Because your money has to go other places as well. Where does the rest of the money have to go? Well, 15% has to go back into your business. See, if I'm overexerted, listen to me, if I'm overexerted on my living, that means I can't invest and go to the events. So that's why a lot of people can't go to events right now, because they're overexerted, they're overextended. It's not because they don't make enough, it's because they're living above their means. Their living expenses don't go, it doesn't coincide with the income for a lot of people. Right now, that's not everybody's case, but I do know for a lot of people, because that was me before. I'm only speaking from transparency. I'm speaking from me, but I do know that's the case for a lot of people. All right. So 15% of the income has to go back into the business. That's how you advance the business. If I have a business, but I'm not putting no money into it, I don't have a business. That's somebody else's business. If I'm not investing, hey, listen, you are the business. Listen, you are the business. So the money, the 15%, that goes back into you because somebody said, well, I'm an IBO. How do I? It goes back to you. See, when a traditional business, I got to buy inventory. I got to pay overhead. I got to pay employees. I got to pay staff. But since you are the business, this 15%, it goes back into you. It goes back into you going to events. It goes back into you buying clothes so you can look professional in business meetings, right? It goes to your marketing. It goes to your brand. But if I'm overexerted, I don't have that to put into my brand. I don't have it to put back into my business because everything I got is going out. I gotta pay Visa. I gotta pay the mortgage company. I gotta pay the car note. I gotta pay all these different bills because I wasn't managing my money right. All right. So 15% goes back into the business. Pay you 10%. Pay you 10%. Right. That's very important. Pay you 10%. So if you're a chairman 10, you make like $10,000, $12,000 a month. Guess what? 10% of that goes back to you. 1,000 or 1,200. That's your spending money for the month. And guys, this is stuff that I really wish I would have paid attention to. This is stuff I really wish I would have paid attention the first time David taught me this, but I didn't listen. And I shot myself in the foot. And I should have way more money than I do right now, but I wasn't listening. But now you learn two ways. You learn from mentors and you learn from mistakes. In this setting right now, I'm basically a mentor. So you can learn from me and my mistakes, or you can just make your own mistakes. But a wise man learns from the mistakes of other people. I wasn't wise the first time I got money. All right. So pay you 10%. Then the next one, biggest one, contribution and charity. For me, this is tithes. So 10% of everything I get always goes back to my church. Right? If you don't have a church home that you attend, then it should go back to people. It should go back to charitable giving. It should go back to somebody else, not just you. You shouldn't have to hoard all the money. All right? You should have to hoard all the money. All right? Your 90% looks like this. The 10% looks like this. Right? 90% looks like that. And then you got the last 20%, family. That goes to savings and investments. The last 20%, it goes to savings and investments. Savings and investments. Savings and investments. Savings and investment. So for just numbers purposes, 25% living expenses, 20% savings and investments, or taxes, if you will, right? Business, 15%. Contribution and charity, 10%. Pay yourself, 10%. Boom. Money got to be managed. Money got to be managed. And that's how you manage it. Now, the next question is, why must money be managed? I'm glad you asked. Because money's not yours. Please write it down. Money, it ain't your money. It was a gift. It's not your money. And that alone will free you. It's not yours. It was given to you. The quickest way to lose money is by thinking it's yours. Because that's how I ended up losing money. I thought it was mine. And I wasn't following the principles. I was led by my feelings. Oh, I want to get a condo that's $3,200 a month. I only make $10,000 a month. Oh, I want to have this BMW where all in the car note insurance is $700 a month, not even counting gas and anything that can happen. So I was well over. And I was traveling, building a business. So all my money. Listen, that's why I couldn't save nothing. That's why I didn't have anything to show for what I was making. So now you can learn from me, or you can continue to make the same mistakes. Because why is this call important? Because in 2020, it's going to be a harvest that's going to come of wealth. There's going to be a harvest of money that comes, because everything that was sowed in 2019, in 2018, in 2017, we're going to see a harvest in 2020. We're going to reap it, but you got to be prepared. You got to be prepared. You got to have a strong money blueprint. All right. So the key to having money is by knowing that it's not yours. Right. And now the question is, well, if it ain't my money, whose money is it? About to tell you. Don't worry about it. For through him, God created everything in the heavenly realms and on earth. That's all I got to say. Through him, God created everything through the heavenly realms and on earth. So if he created the earth, that means he had to create money. If he created the earth, that means he had to create the money. So family, it's not yours. It's somebody else's. It's God's. That's his money. You're just the manager of it. And the way that you always have money coming to you is by knowing that it's not yours and you're just a manager. And the way that you manage it is by following the blueprint that was laid out. Not by me. I ain't create that. I ain't smart enough to create that. That came from somebody else. David probably didn't create that. Right? So that right there, family, nugget. Because again, if you are faithful in little things, you'll be faithful in large ones. But if you are dishonest in little things, you won't be honest with great responsibilities. And if you are untrustworthy about worldly wealth, who will trust you with the true riches of heaven? And if you are not faithful with other people's things, if you ain't faithful with God's money, why should you be trusted with stuff of your own? Hey man, listen. I'm just a messenger. That's it. Miss Crescenda, I hope I said your name right. I'm just a messenger. That's it. That's it. Right? But I ain't done yet. Because as you guys know, I like to give stories. And it goes back to my last point. Money is meant to be shared. Money is meant to be shared. Money is meant to be shared. Please write it down. Money is meant to be shared because it's not yours. It's not yours. It's somebody else's money. So I have two stories for you. I'm gonna paraphrase these stories because I don't want to keep anybody too late. I think we kind of got the point tonight. Earlier I said on the call that you have two types of people. You have the person or the rich person that wants to gain, and you also have the rich person that wants to give. So these stories come like right out of Luke, right? And one is about a rich man. The rich man went to Jesus and he said, listen, what do I got to do to follow you? What do I got to do? And Jesus said, listen, all you got to do is follow the laws, follow the commandments, like, don't rob, don't steal, don't kill, all that stuff. Do all of that. And then the guy says, you know what? I've done that. What else do I got to do? And so then Jesus said, I want you to take all of your wealth. I want to take everything you own and give it away. And I want you to give your money to the poor. And the rich man dropped his head, got sad, and walked away. This man had everything. He had everything. He was very rich. But he couldn't give it away. Why? Because he thought that the money was his. He thought that he thought it was his. He didn't have the understanding that it wasn't his money. He didn't have the understanding that the reason why God asked him to give it away, not because he wasn't going to get it back, but he had to give it away to show that his heart was pure if he wanted to follow him. See, sometimes we don't get what we want because our heart's not in the right place. That's why I asked you earlier. If you were to get blessed, would you have the heart posture to give freely and bless those around you? I remember when my heart wasn't like that. Again, I'm speaking from experience. I remember every time somebody would ask me to give them money, I would be like, ugh, I wouldn't even answer the phone. Can I be transparent with y'all? Somebody just drop a yes if I can be transparent. Because I remember, again, family members, mom, dad, like my mom on the call right now. And I remember when, like, my dad would always ask me for money. I'm just like, and I had money. I'm like, bro. And he wasn't asking for a lot. But my heart wasn't in the right place to just give it freely. And I had to literally pray and say, God, I know you're going to bless me with abundance. But right now, I don't have the heart that I know you want me to have. So I ask you to remove stones away from my heart so I can freely just give because I know it's not mine. And over the course of time, I just kept serving. I kept giving. I kept giving. I kept giving. And then at some point, it just got to a point where I didn't even care. I was like, all right, cool. Now, that don't mean ask me for money. But at the end of the day, I'm like, man, this feels good. It feels good to see the smile on other people's faces. It feels good to take the wealth and do something good with it, right? Because now let me go to the second story. So that was the story of one rich man. I'm gonna come back to that story in a minute, right? I'm gonna bring it all together for you in just 1 minute, right? The next story, which is literally on the same page, all right? So you got the rich man that we just talked about, and then you got another rich man. His name was Zacchaeus. Zacchaeus was a tax collector. Now, in the Bible days, tax collectors, they weren't the people you didn't want that job, right? Because they was like dishonest with the money, and they became very rich off of lying about other people's taxes or whatever the case may be. So Zacchaeus had a heart to like really, really know God. So one day, right, as Jesus was coming into the town where Zacchaeus was at, Zacchaeus was looking like, man, I gotta get close to him. I gotta get close to him. I gotta get close to him. So he's, looking, peeping, trying to figure out how he can get close to him. And Jesus just says, Zacchaeus, come to me. I need to come to your house today. So when Jesus comes to that Zacchaeus house, because Jesus knew that Zacchaeus' heart was in the right place, Zacchaeus said, listen, I will give half my wealth to the poor. And if I have cheated people on their taxes, I will give them back 4 times as much. So you got one person who was rich and didn't want to give anything away. You got another person who was rich and said, Jesus didn't even have to ask. He said, I will give it away. And if I cheated anybody, I'm going to give them 4 times back. See, family, here's the deal. The secret to living is giving. That's the secret. I said it on a call about 3 or 4 weeks ago. I said you need to be intentional about 3 areas. One area that I said was giving. I don't know who caught it. But see, around that time, I was focusing on giving. This ain't something that I just came up out the blue and started. No, I got an intentional focus about giving over a month ago. Over a month ago, right? So going back to my dad. I'm about to blow your mind. We got it's 10:53. We'll be off call in like 2 minutes, right? Probably 5. Because I need to show you guys practically that giving works, right? And when this happened, I called Tay Morgan immediately. I said, bruh, I gotta tell you this. I gotta tell you this. He was like my person. I said, bro, I don't know when I'm gonna tell this to the team. I don't know when, but I need you there for validation. Right? Because this is going to blow somebody's mind. Because right now, you don't understand how quick things can change for you when you change your heart posture and you understand that money is not yours. Money is supposed to be spent, saved, but more importantly, it's supposed to be shared. Because there's people that need you. There's people that need things to happen in their life. But God is a God of order. He's just not going to give it to them just randomly. It's going to come from a person. It's going to come from somebody close to him. But if you ain't managing your money right, you can't give to the needy. You can't give to people that need assistance. You can't give to the poor. Because to whom much is given, much is required. So you need to know that moving into 2020 if you plan on becoming wealthy. It's just not your money so you can like go out there and buy Gucci and buy Louis and go buy cars and flash and all of that. No, it's so you can help somebody else get into a position where they can change everything about their life. It's for you to help somebody get into a position that make them say, man, I need to keep believing because this person would never gave to me, I would have stopped believing. Just like the guy on the call earlier. I had no clue who it was going to be. I didn't even want to ask the question. I was so nervous about asking the question because I said, man, is this really about to happen? It was like 2:00 in the afternoon. I'm in the shower just praying. And I heard a baby crying in my head. And I saw a text message about somebody being fired from their job. I said, man, there's got to be somebody on the team. Gives a nice mindset, master. I'm just asked the question. It was him. But if I wasn't managing my money right, if I didn't have my heart right, if I didn't know that the money wasn't mine anyway, I would have just had that thought come and I would just left my brain. I would have never did anything. So you got to understand that it's not yours. So when you start making it in abundance, you have the heart to give. He gives seed to the sower. So if you're sowing, he's always going to give you seed. He gives seed to the sower. Now, let me also, before I go back to my dad, why is it so important that you give? Why is that so important? Why is it so important that you love and that you give? When you love and when you give, family, those are the two ways that you become like God. That is doing God-like activity by loving and by giving. And you know what? I'm gonna prove it to you because I don't just speak just to speak. Let me prove it to you. Let me prove it to you. Give me 1 second as I perone right here. For this is how God loved the world. So love is an action word. I need you to understand that. When you say you love somebody, action has to follow. For this is how God loved the world. He gave, I almost start speaking in tongues. He gave his one and only son. For God so loved the world, that means you and I, that he gave, he loved, 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 he gave. And then that same son that he gave went on to the new, down deep in the text and said, listen, it's better to give than receive. More blessed are those who give than receive. Now let me make it all. Let me make it make sense for you, right? Because I know y'all getting tired of me. I got 2 minutes left. Let me bring this thing home. So like a week or two ago, again, I've been focusing on this principle of just giving. I ain't just giving everything away, but I'm giving into proportion to what I have, right? Always understand that you give into proportion of what you have. You don't just give everything away, right? Because you want me to live your life, but you give into proportion of what you have and what's coming into your bank account. So I've been focused on giving. So one day, again, I heard from God. Make it very plain for you, right? I heard from God, like I heard from God today in the shower, right? And he told me to do something for my dad. I'm like, oh, all right, cool. You testing me now. Because remember, I just told y'all, I will always have this thing about always just sending money, all right? But he said, do something for your dad. So I said, cool, you know what? My dad's in Detroit right now. I'm gonna buy my dad 50-yard line seats to the game. Now, mind you, my dad is from Detroit, been living in Detroit, really hasn't been to a Detroit Lions football game in like years, right? He's been living in Detroit now for like 6 months taking care of my grandma, right? So I said, I'm gonna buy him 50-yard line seat tickets to the game. Bought him the tickets, and listen, when I called him and told him I bought him the tickets, the joy that I felt from him brought me to tears. Me paying a couple $100s to a football game and the joy that I heard from my dad brought me to tears. I had to stop and just think like, wow. But now, let me log in from my phone. Let me log in from my phone because I want to put up the screen so I can show you how fast. I ain't even told my mom this. I'm gonna show you how fast gotta move. Can y'all still hear me? Uh-oh. Can y'all still hear me? Drop a yes in the chat box if you can. All right, perfect. Now let me share my screen from my phone. Because I'm about to show you how fast, yo. So this was, I forgot the date, but it'll be on the next screenshot. This is like maybe 2 weeks ago. I called my dad at 10:32. That was the first time I called him at 10:32. And then we had some more dialogue at 10:38. At 10:32, I called and said, Dad, listen, I'm about to buy you tickets to this game. You're on the 50-yard line. Just off the love. I love you. Matter of fact, I don't have tickets for just you. Also got tickets for your brother, my uncle, as well. I bought both y'all tickets to the game on the 50-yard line. They went to the game yesterday, by the way. Right? So that's the first screenshot. Let me unshare and let me pull up the next screenshot so this can make sense for you so you can see how fast. At 10:49, a few minutes later, I received the email, check reissue. Hello, thank you for contacting us. We appreciate the opportunity to be of service to you. Your check will be reissued to the address on file. Now, let me pause for the cause and give you some backstory and also taking a test of this. I've been waiting on this check since September. The check it's a 5-figure check, by the way. It's a 5-figure check. I've been waiting on the check since September. But for some strange reason, after I do something, give, a few minutes later, 5 figures, I got an email for. Something that's been held up since September. Listen to me. Since September. It's like all of my friends got this check but me. I'm like, man, where my check at? Everybody got it but me. She got her check, he got his check. I'm calling on my boys like, bro, you got your check yet? Bro, I got my check last week. I remember Brittany Jack called me. She said, this is like the top of September. Brittany Jack called and said, listen, my check is in the mail. I got it. I'm about to go pick it up right now. I ran downstairs to see if my check was down there. Wasn't there. End of September, it wasn't there. October, it wasn't there. November, it wasn't there. But as soon as I said, all right, God, I got you. I'm going to give. I'm going to focus on giving. And that wasn't one instance of me just giving. It was preceded by activity of me giving way before that. I believe that was the final straw. That was like the final thing to see if I would do that. And once I did it, a few minutes later, check in the mail, 5 figures. So, family, I can't even make it up. The secret to living is through giving. The secret to having money is about allowing money to circulate and not holding on to it. The secret to having money is by becoming a great manager of it because it's not yours to begin with. It's very important that you understand this principle moving into 2020 because I do believe there's going to be a lot of people on this call. Your life is going to begin to change in the year 2020. But you got to make sure that you have the financial blueprint. You got to make sure that you have the principles in order. You got to make sure that you're being led by principles and not being led by your feelings of wanting to just go buy and buy and buy. Because if you buy and buy and buy without recognizing the principles, the money's going to exit your life. Again, this is stuff that I'm transparent. Transparency is the key for trust. I don't want to be a brick wall with my family. I want to be able to show you guys and tell you guys what I've been through, what I've experienced. I've been broke because I didn't manage the money. You understand what I'm saying? I lost money when I didn't manage the money. He gives seed to the sower. So if you're sowing in good places, you're doing right with your money, you're managing it, you understand that it's supposed to be spent, saved, shared, multiplied. That goes without being said. But family, it's gonna be a harvest of wealth that's gonna slap us in the face in 2020, and we got to make sure that we're ready in all areas to receive what's already been promised to us, because that's what the plan was. I shouldn't have to read it again. That's what the plan was. So I love you all. I pray you got value from tonight's call. Again, the person that dropped God's plan in the chat box, you started this, because I didn't know what I was going to talk about. But once you drop God's plan for the song, it changed everything. That's how God will speak to you. Because I said, God, I don't know what I'm about to talk about. Just give me something. And three people dropped God's plan. So thank you all. I love you all. See you at the bank. Good night. God bless.